Good morning, I'm Tips Mahoy, and this is ArthIntel Morning Edition. Coming up, U.S. walks out of UN Security Council meeting during France's remarks. A lover of life, Seattle pays tribute to food festival shooting victims. Man stranded at sea for month found drifting off Hawaii. That plus a check of the weather across the country. The U.S. delegation walked out of an emergency UN Security Council meeting on Ukraine on Monday, in protest at remarks by France's ambassador Jérôme Bonifant. The row stems from last week's vote on renewing UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk's term, when the U.S. voted alongside North Korea and Russia against the extension. France's UN mission then posted that the U.S. used to be a beacon of human rights. Not anymore, prompting U.S. Ambassador Mike Waltz to accuse France of cozying up to the world's worst oppressors. U.S. Ambassador Dan Negria said the delegation would keep staging similar protests until France renounces their condescending and disrespectful rhetoric. While Turk's reappointment was ultimately backed by 144 states, with 10 against and 13 abstentions. Seattle is mourning after a deadly gunfight broke out Sunday at the Bite of Seattle Food Festival, killing 3 people and injuring 4 others. The dead have been identified as 19-year-old Junior C. Nico Simo, 44-year-old Carlos Israel Sanchez Villalba, and 56-year-old Ashley Whitehead. Villalba's family, in a GoFundMe, described him as a devoted husband, loving father of 3, and a loyal friend, while Whitehead's family said she died in hospital after exchanging heartfelt "I love yous" with her eldest daughter. Mayor Katie Wilson joined dozens at a candlelight vigil Monday, saying no father, no parent should have to bury their child, as police say one suspect remains in custody and another is still at large. A California man is recovering after being stranded at sea for more than a month during a solo sailing attempt to Hawaii. Kai Sato, 39, says his mast snapped just 2 weeks into the journey, leaving him adrift and by his own account at one point contemplating suicide. He tells Hawaii NewsNow he made makeshift repairs using PVC pipes and kayak paddles, and survived on oatmeal, fish, and squid, along with condensation he collected in plastic bags. Sato was ultimately spotted and rescued by the crew of a Pasha Hawaii ship, and says the ordeal hasn't stopped him from planning his next voyage to the Philippines. ArthIntel Headline News is brought to you in part by Toolbox Development, AI web development and marketing. Learn more at toolboxdevelopment.net. We'll be right back. President Trump says talks between the United States and Iran are going well, telling reporters aboard Air Force One there's a good chance that something will happen. According to Reuters, Trump said if an agreement isn't reached, "We'll go back to what we were doing 2 days ago," a reference to U.S. military strikes which he has temporarily suspended. Trump claimed Iran is seeking negotiations because we were hitting them very hard, and warned he's prepared to take strong military action if the talks collapse. According to a Punchbowl News report, 2 outgoing Republican senators are threatening to derail President Trump's pick for Attorney General ahead of a critical committee vote. Sens John Cornyn of Texas and Tom Tillis of North Carolina say their votes for nominee Todd Blanche hinge on the Justice Department eliminating a $1.7 billion anti-weaponization fund and curtailing an audit immunity deal for Trump and his family. Tillis told Punchbowl that no agreement has been reached on either demand, warning they'll just have to delay the confirmation if their conditions aren't met. Both senators are leaving Congress after facing pressure from Trump, joining a group of GOP lawmakers now positioned to challenge the White House's agenda without fear of political repercussions. The British government is facing scrutiny after allowing the Islamic Centre of England, a London-based charity, to remain on its list of licensed sponsors for skilled worker visas. This is despite the charity being investigated by the Charity Commission over alleged links to the Iranian regime. According to the report, the center has hosted events featuring Iran and Hezbollah symbols, held a vigil for IRGC Commander Qasem Soleimani, and its imam has called regime protesters soldiers of Satan. Lord Walney, a former government advisor on political violence, called it alarming that the center remains a registered visa sponsor while under investigation. ArthIntel Headline News is brought to you in part by Toolbox Development, AI web development and marketing. Learn more at toolboxdevelopment.net. We'll be right back. A newly released audio recording reveals that Shohei Ohtani's former interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara, initially told ESPN reporter Tisha Thompson that the Dodgers star had agreed to cover his massive gambling debt. But less than 24 hours later, Mizuhara reversed course, admitting he had lied, and was fired by the Dodgers as Ohtani's attorneys called him the victim of massive theft. The recording is featured in a new ESPN podcast series, The Betrayal of Shohei Ohtani. Mizuhara later pleaded guilty to federal bank fraud and tax charges, admitting he stole nearly $17 million from Ohtani, and is now serving a 57-month prison sentence. As NFL training camps open, big storylines are already taking shape across the AFC. In Buffalo, new head coach Joe Brady and defensive coordinator Jim Leonhard must blend new pass rushers like free agent signee Bradley Chubb and rookie T.J. Parker with returning players Ed Oliver and Michael Holt, after the Bills ranked 24th in total pressures last season. In New England, owner Robert Kraft says the team has made cornerback Christian Gonzalez an offer that would make him the highest-paid player at his position and in franchise history, though a deal isn't finalized. And there are quarterback questions on both sides of the Hudson. Geno Smith returns to the Jets a decade after his first stint there, while Miami's wide receiver room is wide open after the team moved on from Tyreek Hill and traded Jalen Waddle. The Big Ten enters 2026 chasing more history after a remarkable streak of 3 straight different national champions from the conference: Michigan, Ohio State, and reigning champ Indiana. According to ESPN's preview, Oregon is favored to keep that streak alive, though Ohio State starts the season ranked first nationally in the SB Plus rankings. Analysts note last season's top 3, Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon, all returned strong production, while teams like Penn State, now led by new coach Matt Campbell, are described as nearly impossible to project. ESPN also flags 5 marquee conference matchups to watch, including USC at Penn State, Ohio State at Indiana, and Oregon's trip to Columbus on November 7th. With the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics 2 years away, ESPN says Team USA's basketball roster picture is shifting as the program moves past LeBron James, Stephen Curry, and Kevin Durant. According to ESPN's analysis, Finals MVP Jalen Brunson and Raptors forward Scotty Barnes, who averaged 24.1 points, 8.6 assists, and 6.1 rebounds in the playoffs, have seen their Olympic stock rise, along with Jaden McDaniels, rookie Dylan Harper, and Heat center Bam Adebayo. ESPN also lists LeBron James as a wildcard possibility, though James himself said on the Mind the Game podcast that for 2028 he'll be watching it from Cabo. ArthIntel Headline News is brought to you in part by Toolbox Development, AI web development and marketing. Learn more at toolboxdevelopment.net. We'll be right back. And finally, here's a look at temperatures across the country right now. It's hottest in Phoenix at 87 degrees, while Seattle is the coolest spot on the board tonight at 60. That's ArthIntel Morning Edition for now, 10 stories coast to coast. I'm Tips Mahoy for ArthIntel Signal Over Noise.